From the Florida Today newsroom, this is the Florida Today Show.
Brevard deputies help bust a suspected cannibal. A gubernatorial candidate makes a stop in Brevard County, and meet the New Zealand sensation on the Titans volleyball team. Hello, Space Coast, and welcome to the Florida Today Show. I'm Rob Landers, and today is Sunday, November 4th. It was a chilling conversation carried out using encrypted email. Texas authorities said 21-year-old Alexander Barter was communicating by way of the dark web with an undercover agent from Brevard County, drawing up nightmarish plans to find a child to sexually assault and cannibalize. The arrest and its ghoulish detail, along with Barter's mugshot, went viral last week as Texas prosecutors discussed Barter's use of the internet to seek out his victim. The Brevard County connection slowly emerged more than a week after the arrest. Brevard County Sheriff Wayne Ivey called a special news conference Tuesday to discuss the case. Ivey, standing in front of the Brevard County Jail Complex, talked about how his unidentified special agent worked with federal authorities to initiate an arrest on October 19th.
I'm gonna start out by telling you that the case I'm about to tell you about, the arrest I'm about to tell you about, is one of the most sickening that I've ever experienced in my 39 years in law enforcement. On October 19th, 21-year-old Alexander Barter was arrested out in Texas as a result of a criminal investigation that started right here in Brevard County. It was a joint investigation between the Brevard County Sheriff's Office, Homeland Security Investigations, Customs Border Patrol, Texas Department of Public Safety, Nacogdoches Police Department, and Shelby County Sheriff's Office. The investigation started after our agents answered an internet ad from Barter. Barter had gone on the internet and posted an ad, and I will quote the ad: "I would like to try necrophilia and cannibalism and see how it feels to take a life." The conversation quickly turned to the suspect wanting to commit the acts that he had mentioned on a child that our UC had access to. As the chat continued, "I would like to do this ASAP," is what Barter responded. "I really need to do something about my intense bloodlust." As the investigation continued to shape, our undercover agents made him aware that they could travel, which is one of the things he wanted to be sure of. He directed them to travel to Texas, which our team did. Our team went out to Texas, again working very closely with HSI and the local authorities out there, and we were able to meet the subject. He met where he had said he was going to. In his chat, he had discussed that he lived in the woods, and that is exactly where the arrest took place, and his home was quite deeply embedded in the woods. I will tell you that as in part of the investigation in his chats, he said, "I'm not into role playing. I want to actually rape, kill, and cannibalize her. I am very serious about doing this. I live in the woods so I can make sure her body won't ever be found." Folks, this individual is one of the most sick, disgusting, and demented people I believe I have ever had the unfortunate nature to be involved with. Our team did an amazing job at getting this individual off the street. This is not somebody that was role-playing. This is not somebody that was just talking online. This is somebody that actually, when he was arrested, showed up with a knife and bags to take the body parts in. This individual was going to carry this out. In fact, he was so committed to carrying it out that after his arrest and confession, after Miranda was given, he actually thanked the agents that were involved in the investigation for stopping him because he was unable to stop himself. That's the individual that we're talking about. For me, it's hard to imagine that we have monsters walking around among us that are masquerading as humans, that are preying upon us and our children each and every day. And I will tell you that I'm extremely proud of our agents. I'm extremely proud of the partnership we have with our federal partners that, working together, took this individual off the street and now have him safely behind bars where he can't ever do what he wanted to do to someone. Think about this for a moment. He not only wanted to rape and kill, but he wanted to cannibalize this individual. He talks about necrophilia. He talks in great detail about what he was going to do. This is an individual that had allowed his urges, as sick as they are, to build up, and he was unable to control them. And thankfully, there are agents that work for us, there are agents that work for our federal partners that were able to put him somewhere where we can control him and never allow him to hurt a child. This is unbelievable. And my hat's off to not only Lieutenant Vitaliano, who was deeply involved in this case, but also our undercovers who, as you can imagine, we don't reveal their identity. And it is truly an honor to work with these men and women that do this every day. You have no idea what it's like to hear these cases from them. They live them, they're part of them, and I have immense respect for them. They are truly doing our work and keeping us safe out here. The individual is behind bars. He is facing federal charges, and his charges are for criminal solicitation, criminal attempt, capital murder, conspiracy to commit capital murder, and criminal attempt at sexual performance of a child. Obviously, there is no bond, and this individual needs to stay behind bars where he can never harm anyone else. I can't impress upon you guys enough the importance of the job that our agents do. But for them, as this individual said, he couldn't control his urges. He had the most sickening and disgusting urges, as he referred to it as bloodlust. And to know that there's someone out there, again, masquerading as a human being is just completely frightening.
Gubernatorial candidate Ron DeSantis made a campaign stop in Melbourne on Sunday, drawing sharp contrast between him and his opponent and urging supporters to hit the polls as Election Day looms.
Law school, but instead he chose to dedicate his life to the military. He is deeply committed to honor and integrity.
And without further ado, it is my honor and it is my privilege to be here with my better half and my husband, the next governor of the great state of Florida, Ron DeSantis.
The two of us running, I'm the only one that ain't gonna raise your taxes. It requires people willing to put on the uniform to serve in law enforcement and potentially risk. So we can't have, we have a... We want Ron! We want Ron!
When we come back, a New Zealand standout is making a name for herself at Eastern Florida State College. Stay with us.
Create the career of your dreams with a degree from Eastern Florida State College. Earn a bachelor's degree, associate's degree, or college certificate in growing job fields like healthcare, business, and computer technology. On campus or online, you can find inspiration and success. Anything's possible where Titans rise. Eastern Florida State College.
Welcome back to the Florida Today Show. I'm Rob Landers. If you haven't been paying attention to Eastern Florida volleyball this season, the Titans finished 3-18 for the 2018 season. But the team remains strong and committed to future success. Eastern Florida Manager of Athletic Communications Mike Parsons recently sat down with New Zealand standout Maddie Campbell to talk about the team and the season. Watch.
This is Titan Sports Time. I'm Mike Parsons, Manager of Athletic Communications at Eastern Florida State College, and today I'm joined by women's volleyball player Maddie Campbell. Welcome to the show, Maddie.
Thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, talk about you're from New Zealand.
Yes.
So how does someone from New Zealand end up at Eastern Florida?
Well, you know, I sent out my video to a few coaches, and Coach Andrea got back to me, and she really sold the program for me. The facility is amazing, the gym, the weight room, where we live off campus. It goes so smoothly. The girls are amazing, the team, they did really well last year, so I wanted to come here and experience the culture.
And what's the biggest difference between New Zealand and America? What's the biggest thing that you found that's really different?
I mean, New Zealand alone is smaller than the size of Florida, so everything is on a grand scale. The food, the shopping, it's been amazing, the shopping actually, but America, everyone's so friendly here, so welcoming, and yeah, no, it's lovely.
Now, on the court, you're among one of the top 10 blockers in the state this year, so talk about what goes into a good block.
A good block, first of all, the timing. You're never blocking alone, so you're always working with your pin hitters, so they have to talk to you firstly. Then I've just got to read the set, know where it's going, and just do all I can to get out there, take a big first step, a small first step, whatever it needs to be to get out there. Secondly, being aggressive. I need to get up there and be strong, so I want to be blocking hard. Penetrating over the net so my hands are invading space and always keeping the ball out in front of me. That's my main tips, I would say.
So it seems like it's a lot of timing. Is it more timing or more kind of angles and that kind of thing when you're going up for a block?
I'd say firstly timing, because if you don't have timing with your pin hitter, then it's a nightmare. But then if you're not angled towards the inwards towards position 6, then the ball can get tooled off your hands and go out of bounds and that sort of thing. So yeah, first timing, then positioning.
And it must be something that you have to work on a long time, like years, in order to kind of perfect?
Yeah, it's definitely technical, and once you've got that, it's just being able to read the ball, because setters over here, they're fast and they're neutral, so that's what I've struggled with, being able to read the ball. But once I sort of understand the cues and where they're going, then I can get out there.
And talk about your first season as a Titan. What have you kind of taken from your first year as a college volleyball player?
The amount of work that needs to go into it. I mean, we train every day, weights as well. The pre-season was intense. And on top of that, school life, being able to complete homework, that sort of thing, it's pretty tough. But I've definitely come out the other end stronger, and I feel more relaxed now, and yeah.
Now, when you're not on the volleyball court and in class, what do you like to do?
Go to the beach. I'm lucky my roommates and my housemates, they love the beach too, so we go there. I like doing shopping as well, so I go to the mall sometimes, eat out for lunch, go to the pool at the apartments, that sort of thing. Enjoy the weather, yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
The Titusville Playhouse continues on with its busy season. On Friday, the theater opened the rock musical Hedwig and the Angry Inch. Florida Today photographer Tim Short stopped by the Playhouse to bring you this.
My name's Melinda Benya, and I'm playing Yitzhak in the Titusville Playhouse production of Hedwig and the Angry Inch. It's a two-person show, and plus the band, or the Angry Inch. You can get tickets at TitusvillePlayhouse.com or call the office at 268-1125. Playing a dude has always been a dream of mine, so I'm really excited to really get in. I chopped my hair off for the show. My hair was about down to here, so I'm really kind of getting into it. So being in a two-person cast has been super challenging. We definitely, both of us have to carry the show, and if anything goes wrong, someone's got to figure it out and help the other person out. Being pretty much the only two vocalists on stage is pretty difficult as well. You really don't have anybody else to rely on or anything else to rely on. You just kind of have to hope you know what you're doing. This show is really about Hedwig's journey to stardom, and kind of how, you know, from a really young age, he or she was really trying to figure out who she was going to be, and you just kind of take that trip with her as she goes through different voices, being her mom and other people in her life that's really affected her decision. It's really funny, but it's got a lot of weight to it. There's a lot of really meaningful and good lessons to be learned in this show.
Hedwig and the Angry Inch is on stage at the Titusville Playhouse through Sunday, November 11th. For tickets or more information, call 321-268-1125 or visit TitusvillePlayhouse.com. Also opening this weekend was the Surfside Playhouse production of Young Frankenstein, based on the Mel Brooks comedy classic.
Good evening, and welcome, Dr. Frankenstein.
Oh, that's Frankenstein.
Ah, yes, of course. Steve.
Hi, I'm Katie McCall, and I'm playing Inga in Mel Brooks' Young Frankenstein at Surfside Playhouse. It is running from November 2nd to November 18th, 3 weekends.
And I am your housekeeper, Frau Bluehair.
How do you do?
For tickets, you can call 321-783-3127 or go to surfsideplayhouse.com. Inga is a very fun character to play. She is very iconic. Everybody knows her from the movie. She's definitely very flirtatious. I get to jump around and bounce around. So much fun. It's probably the most fun part I've ever played. Lots of singing and dancing.
Like Laurel and Hardy, like Coke and Bacardi, like Juliet and Romeo, ebb and flow too.
I love the movie. All Mel Brooks is amazing. This is definitely one of my favorites of him. And when I heard I got this part, I was completely in shock because I never thought that I would be able to portray such an amazing, iconic, famous character.
Listen to me. You are not evil. You are good.
I am your housekeeper, Frau Bluehair.
Young Frankenstein will be on stage at the Surfside Playhouse through November 18th. For tickets or more information, call 321-783-3127 or visit surfsideplayers.com. And if you didn't get enough suspense during the Halloween season, check out the suspense-filled drama of Veronica's Room, the latest production to hit the stage at Melbourne Civic Theatre. Veronica's Room will be on stage at Melbourne Civic Theatre for one final weekend with its closing performance on November 11th. For tickets or more information, call 321-723-6935 or visit mymct.org. When we come back, how does your body speak to you? Stay with us.
Join me on election night for our live results coverage. I'm Isadora Ringel with Florida Today, and I'll moderate a roundtable discussion about state and local results. Joining me will be Eastern Florida State College political science professor Chris Muro and political insiders from both parties. We'll cover the governor's race, U.S. Senate, and the major Brevard County races. Tune in starting at 7 p.m. on November 6th on WEFS and FloridaToday.com.
Welcome back to the Florida Today Show. I'm Rob Landers. How does your body speak to you? In this Best Of segment, Florida Today columnist Lillian McDermott talks about how your body will communicate the status of your health. You just have to listen.
All right, well, we're always happy to introduce this segment, and this is where we talk to our health columnist, Lillian McDermott. So as always, Lillian, thank you for being here on the show this week.
And thank you for always including me. I appreciate it.
All right. So we're going to delve right into your newest article, your April article, which has just come out, and the title of it is How Does the Body Speak? Which is a very interesting title because you could go all over the place with it. But as we read into the article, you know, we really find out about disease, where things come from, where they originate from, and what we can do to start healing from this process. So there's a whole lot that goes into it. So why don't we, you know, take it from the top?
You know, the reason why I wrote this is I was awakened in the middle of the morning. So when I say in the middle of the morning, it was like 4 o'clock, 5:30, 5 o'clock. And what I heard was, wake up, wake up, wake up. And I say that in my article as I finish it because we need to wake up. Our body is speaking to us. Why don't we listen? We can wake up from our dreams and we can wake up from our slumber, but are we truly awake? And so it's time to listen to our bodies, listen to what it's saying, and there's a lot of science and a lot of evidence that will point us, and if we just listen to our bodies, we could be our own MD, our medical detective.
All right, so, you know, you say in here, so many of us go through life totally unaware of the truths that hold us back. And you say we ignore the impact of events that have happened in our lives that may have had some sort of negative or difficult toll. And you say each day is a continuation of the past, and that past manifests in our bodies as disease. So tell us, you know, you talk about things that happen to people and how this manifests. Explain that to us.
So what I've learned from the teachers on my show, so I'm not creating this, I'm not making it up, is that whenever we experience trauma, and trauma doesn't have to be an experience where someone loses a life or a limb or a disease. Trauma can be divorce. Trauma can be, you know, a bully. So, or someone said something mean-spirited to that individual. Everybody has a capacity to release and let go. Sometimes we hold on to it and make more of it than it has to be. Other times it's a very traumatic experience, child abuse, you know, neglect, anything to that effect. What happens is, and I've mentioned this before, from the ages of 0 to 7, we are little human tape recorders. What we see becomes part of our subconscious mind. So we record everything up to that age of 7. Some kids older, I believe I was 10 years old, but in that, what we record, we put it into our subconscious mind. That subconscious mind moves us. It moves us forward, right? It's what we do when we're not even thinking. We can drive a car, we don't even know that we're driving. So, but when we have these traumatic events, it's recorded into our white blood cell. It's documented. So I know this sounds a little woo-woo, but it records into our different parts of our body. They've gotten down to a science that different, some people correlate it with the chakras. So if people know what chakras are, it's in that same center, or they're called healing centers. And there's 7 of them in our body, and there's more above our body, but that's another topic. But basically, it records, it goes into that certain area of your body, and if we don't deal with it, it keeps growing and manifesting until one day you wake up and now you're sick.
Well, you know, you did something in this article leading into a quote here that you put in there. I rarely have people quote themselves in an article, so I thought that was interesting. But your quote said,
oh, yeah, that was
your body will not forget what your brain wants to neglect. And I think that's, if you're going to quote yourself, that's a pretty good quote. Explain what you mean by that.
So again, here we are, all these traumas. Some people don't even want. I'm going to give you an example. I was talking about, I give a talk, and it's the 8 keys to living the life of your dreams. And one of them is forgiveness, and we talk about letting go and releasing, and I had mentioned something about forgiveness and letting go of something. She goes, I don't want to forget, 'cause I want to forget, I want to ignore what happened. Many of us go through life where we want to ignore the event, pretend like it didn't happen. But if you go back there and you revisit that event in a loving, non-judgmental way, it's amazing how much healing we can do, how much healing we can recuperate from that. So it's recorded, it goes into our body, so the event, the trauma, whatever we make of it, is recorded, it goes to our body. The brain is trying to neglect it. The body is saying, there's something you need to deal with. There's something you need to deal with. It knows that it wants to get into alignment with the brain. And so let's say I'm ignoring that I'm ignoring something that I know is going to cause it's a painful event. So what happens is your body says you need to deal with pain, so bam, you get a backache, or bam, your knee hurts, or bam, fibromyalgia, or you get a diagnosis. But basically, your body is speaking to you, saying there's something else that you need to deal with, and it's usually an emotional component to it.
Yeah, I think most people have always kind of realized that when you compartmentalize and you try and hide away a pain, that it can cause certain problems. But, you know, to see that there's actually starting to be science that's proving that it's not just, you know, a metaphor or a euphemism. This is something that's really happening to us. And, you know, one example I thought of as I was reading through this and as you were talking is, you know, the hashtag #MeToo movement, because it's almost like a national healings going on where women have finally stood up together and said, enough, we've held this down long enough, and now the nation is embracing it to help that healing process start telling people no more for the predators, no more for the abusers. And so as I read this, that was one of the main things that I thought of.
Yeah.
So,
well, there's, you know, I'll give you an example. They've done studies with people that have had heart attacks, and they look back and they say there has been an event that causes, it's called broken-hearted syndrome, and there's actual a reaction if you don't deal with that broken heart. And so that's where the heart attack, or so many things that we don't even know that we could be hurting ourselves if we don't deal with it. So the brain and the body want to get into alignment, and that's how it does it.
And so now we'll jump forward from the problems that manifest to the healing. And you say healing is not always outside of us in a pill form. It is mostly within us as we connect with our Creator. Now, and you say, now when my body speaks, I listen. And I thought that was really an interesting way, because you have to tell people to start healing, they have to find it within themselves.
Absolutely.
And that's the hardest part, is facing that type of problem, that type of fear, and then trying to figure out how to get beyond it.
Well, okay, so most people, they know there's something wrong. And we're looking at a diagnosis. We want that diagnosis. Well, when we get that diagnosis, all the doctor can do for the most part is prescribe a pill. And what I say in the article, the more pills we take, the further it takes us away from our body speaking to us. So it's really important that when we look at where in the body the body is speaking, where in the body, because there's a correlation between every aspect. For example, I have a thyroid condition. And another thing that we do is that we say, I have. We own it. It's all of a sudden like, whew, now it's a diagnosis, now I don't have to worry about it. So the reality is that we do. We have the condition, it's not my condition, it's the condition of a thyroid condition. Thyroid conditions are correlated in that model that I share in the article with not having a voice, not speaking your truth. But what happens is you're given a thyroid medication, you're given another medication instead of learning how to deal with and heal with. And I'm not judging it, because I too take thyroid medication, but I take a natural supplement for it. But if I would have, you know, if I go back there and I say, okay, where am I not speaking my truth? That would be a way I can start healing, as well as taking the pill. I'm not against the pill. I'm doing everything. I'm for doing everything you possibly can to not need the pill.
Sure.
So that's, go ahead.
Oh, that's all right. I was going to say, we've really only scratched the surface on this article, because there's so much to it. And we do encourage you all to go to floridatoday.com/health to check out Lillian's article. You can also read it at whenyouneedafriend.com. And I just want to share one more line toward the end, where you say, everything has a purpose in life. We can be ashamed, afraid, or angry about our past, or we can accept and be curious about the greater purpose in the pain. Use your past as fuel, not as poison. I think that's incredibly well put. And I also want to encourage our audience to go to whenyouneedafriend.com to check out the radio show that Lillian does. And I was on her show also discussing this article, and we have a full hour. So, you know, again, whenyouneedafriend.com, read the article at floridatoday.com/health. And as always, Lillian, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
You can hear more from Lillian locally on AM 1510 WMEL, FM 94.7, FM 99.9, and FM 100.7 at noon and 5 p.m. daily. And you can also find her on her website, whenyouneedafriend.com.
And that's going to do it for this week on the Florida Today Show. Be sure to join us again next week for all the latest headlines in news, space, sports, education, and entertainment. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.